Welcome to the Bronx Cheer Basketball Show. I am your host, Nathan Callanan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jack Lynch. We're coming to you from Melbourne, Australia, where it's currently 5:23 p.m. on Monday, the 21st of December.
Gravy Day.
What is the Gravy Day thing?
Oh, Nath, you're showing how non-true blue you are is one way to put it.
Yeah, what is it?
Paul Kelly's song "How to Make Gravy." It was written about the 21st of December. Well, in the story, it's a guy writing a letter, and he says it's the 21st of December. It's Gravy Day, mate. It's the best Christmas song of all time,
I'll have to look it
and
up.
the only Christmas song worth listening to.
I can send you some Chance the Rapper Christmas songs if you'd like to listen.
I'll send you some Alan Jackson ones back, mate.
Okay, so on today's show, we will be talking about the brief, not really. I mean, there's one big thing that happened in the last week. We'll talk about Giannis signing that 5-year extension, embarrassing us the day after our pod last week. Also, Rudy Gobert, Kuzma, which you chucked in these, obviously. I don't know why. Why didn't they? Because with the last week, I check like what Shams has said in the last week. Why didn't I see those?
Because you're a fool, mate.
I'm a fool. Maybe Shams is behind. Shams is the man to blame for that. Anyway, and Gordon Hayward, Ben Simmons, a bit to chat about, but what we're going to do is continue our season preview from last week. We did part 1. We do this alphabetically, and so today we'll continue with part 2, starting with the Los Angeles Lakers. It's all a bit, we wing it a bit. It's been a busy couple of weeks leading up to Christmas, JL.
Always busy this time of year. It doesn't help when I've got you on my back trying to get me in for a pod every week, but we're making do.
So it's all, a bit just off the top of our head, but we're going to continue with the season predictions for each team, and then we'll also do the season award predictions, and we'll finish up with some hot takes from both of us. It's going to be a great show. It's time for tip-off. Once again, welcome to the Bronx Cheer Basketball Show. I am joined by a guy who, I know I used this man before, but I'm joined by a guy who didn't suffer an avulsion fracture on his 5th finger on his right hand. JL, how are you?
Better than Hayward. I'm going to be using this one every week, I reckon, because he's going to be getting injured every week. I'm all right. Can't complain. Working most days every week, so it's good. Money's coming in. Don't have much time. A bit tired, but it's all right. It's pretty stock standard, really.
So you work in, for all our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, check us out on YouTube. You work at Bell's Ice, and of course, it's
I am an ice dealer. So yeah, whenever anyone asks me what I do, I deal ice, and I'm not lying there, just misleading the truth, I suppose, a little bit, but that's all right.
Just quickly, how about the choice of words of Bomber Thompson when he was on that talk show? And they said, "What's next?" And then he said, "I'm going to start selling frozen water."
He knows.
Ice. And he was like...
He was selling ice.
He was selling ice, the drug. Oh.
Maybe this has been a cover-up for me as well for all these years.
Like, why would you actually say it? Anyway, that's totally unrelated. Getting on to basketball. So we do this in alphabetical order, our season predictions. So last week we did all these bunch of teams. I'm just going to quickly go through them. Give me like 1 or 2 words and maybe like the latter prediction again of each. So Hawks.
In case our episodes aren't long enough already.
Yeah. Hawks. I'm pretty sure we both said. I said ninth.
I can't even remember.
I said ninth.
I said about there, I think. That's my gut feeling now, so I'm sticking to it.
Ninth, they're going to be fun. Celtics, I said top 3. You?
Yeah, something like that.
Brooklyn,
sounds about right.
Brooklyn, I said, I think we both said the same, like, essentially like one of the top 4 championship favorites if KD stays healthy. And if he doesn't, they'll still make the playoffs, but obviously not.
Seventh seed sort of. But yeah, I think the way he played in those preseason games, I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the finals.
Yeah. Hornets sort of just outside the playoffs, sort of like 11.
Hornets are shit. No, they'll be worse than that.
Bulls, like, I think I had them like like 12th or something, or 13th.
I think I was in the same boat.
Cavs last.
Last.
Mavs, I had them 4th. What did you say?
Yeah, up there. Don't know.
Nuggets,
I don't remember anything.
Nuggets,
Nuggets, I think I had third,
Nuggets 3rd.
but maybe sneaky second is what I said.
Pistons like last in
Yeah,
East.
that'll be rubbish.
Warriors, this took us a while, but I think the gist is I have them out of the playoffs in the West.
Yeah, I think so. I don't see them taking a playoff spot.
Rockets, we both said 7th. Pacers, we both said.
Scratching 8th.
Oh no, I wasn't there. I was like mid. I was like 4th or 5th.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Nathan. They're dropping below Philly. They're dropping below Brooklyn. They're dropping below Miami.
Maybe 5th or 6th.
That gets to at least 7th.
There's one team, I mentioned it last week when talking about this, that I think is going to really drop in the East, and we'll get to it. And then we said the Clippers, and we both said 2nd. I said maybe even 1st. Now, that brings us to today. We are on to the Los Angeles Lakers, and we're giving our predictions. So, for all those that weren't around or weren't watching or something, the Lakers won the championship a couple of months ago. The shortest off-season ever. They've just endured. They lost Avery Bradley, Danny Green, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Rondo, and that's it. And they brought in Marc Gasol, Montrezl Harrell, Wesley Matthews, and Dennis Schroeder. Where does this team finish in the standings? Let's go to the standings.
First. They're finishing number 1 in the West. I think they just got stronger.
Yep.
They've lost some pieces, but they've gained some pieces, and I think the pieces that they've gained fit the jigsaw puzzle a bit better.
Yep. It's 1 or 2. Just a quick question about the Lakers. How much of a load management is LeBron this year?
That's the one thing that's making me question them being number 1. But I don't think it'll be that much, and especially because the NBA is being stricter on it now. They're going to start finding teams. But I don't see LeBron as a type to load manage anyway.
Yep.
And I think he'll play most games, and he's jokingly said that he's going to make AD do all the work for the first half of the season. But I think that's when he'll be there playing, but he's not going to be looking to score 25 points. He'll be happy taking, sitting at 18 points per game for the majority of it, but averaging 11 assists and just getting a feel for what the new players on his team want and where they like the ball and things like that.
You think LeBron's going to sit on 18 points per game?
Only for the first few weeks sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Right.
Like, not the whole season. Like, I think he's just going to get into what we'd call a slow start. But he's just getting a feel for it and just taking it easy. Minutes will be down, just running through the motions a bit.
The Lakers play the Clippers on opening night. It's this week. It's Tuesday US time, Wednesday our Australian time.
Coming in hot.
How potent is that game? Is that a...
Oh, the media is going to absolutely lap it up. The same thing happened last year. It means fuck all.
No, but yeah, not that. No, but like it does, but it doesn't. But like my question is, with this load management talk, short off season, Kawhi, the load management king. What are we looking at? Are we looking at 36 minutes for all 4 stars?
Yeah, I think so. And purely because they know so much weighs on this game, which is ridiculous. But like the whole perception of the media last year was almost based on the first game of the season where because the Clippers won, they were the team to beat.
Yeah.
And I think now both the teams, they'll have something to play for. The Clippers will want to win to prove themselves. And the Lakers will want to just shit on the Clippers, as they always do.
Is there... you know what? I was just thinking about how fierce it's going to be. There's no crowds. How much does that suck?
I know.
I was going to say, is there going to be a bit of a tussle between Montrez and one of the Clippers? But Maybe yes,
Pat
still.
Bev will be talking. Pat
But,
Bev will be talking,
but
definitely.
if the crowd was there, definitely
Oh,
lock it in. All right. Well, yeah, Lakers top two for me, with either first or second. I've mentioned that I think the Clippers are going to be on a bit of a redemption this season. We'll talk about after all this, our season, postseason predictions and season awards. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, Lakers first. I do want to comment, and you'll hear me continue to comment that I know you like Wes Matthews. I don't love Wes Matthews. I think
he just plays his role. There's nothing wrong with a bit of Wes Matthews.
He's good.
He's all right. Don't be so harsh on little Wes out there.
He will be a good role player, but
That's all we signed for. Play a bit. He can't be worse than Danny Green.
I could argue that the best or the most complete for their role player that they brought in of all these great off-season additions of Schroeder, Matthews, Harrell, and Gasol is Schroeder for me.
Yeah.
Gasol is 100.
In like a glove, I think.
Yeah, Gasol's 100 years old. Harrell doesn't play defense. He'll be nice in the regular season, but it'll be the same story in the playoffs. He'll be a bit of a liability on defense.
But he'll match up, to pair him with AD's better than pairing with Zubats.
Yes, that's correct.
But you've got someone that can cover for him now, at least.
Yeah, it'll be correct. I'm just very interested to see how well they make that work on defense and even on offense with Harrell in the playoffs. Matthews plays his role, but overall, Schroeder is currently, with his age and his skill set, the best. Anyway.
I think Schroeder's the perfect fit because he can score 14 off the bench quite efficiently, or he can start.
Yep.
And Bradley was a starter throughout the season. He didn't play in the playoffs, obviously, and in the bubble, but there's no real starting point guard. I don't think the Lakers really care because LeBron's taking those duties anyway. But LeBron working with Schroeder on the court at the same time would be nice. So he's going to be their best pickup, I think, as well.
You know how we've discussed that the West is so stacked?
Yeah, it's fucked.
It is.
It's fucked.
But have you got the standings up right now?
No.
Well, what are you doing? What am I paying you for? No, I'm joking.
There's meant to be money involved in this.
Oh, didn't you receive the check? No.
How many million do you owe me?
Okay. I've actually taken a second today and actually looking at last season's standings.
Mm-hmm.
So our next team to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies, who are in the play-in game against the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. The Memphis Grizzlies brought in Desmond Bane in the draft, Sean McDermott in the draft, Killian Tilly in the draft, and Xavier Tillman in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really do it.
Big free agents.
And they didn't really do anything else.
Yeah.
So unless these rookies are like LeBron James,
mm-hmm.
I cannot put them in the playoffs. So quickly, the teams that made the West playoffs last year: Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Rockets, Jazz, Mavericks, Portland, and OKC. In my point of view, with the fully healthy Nurkic, there's only one team.
There's one team dropping out.
There's one team.
OKC.
One team dropping out, and they surprised us all last year, but they did have Gallinari and Chris Paul and Steven Adams. There's only one spot
coming out, and Houston if Harden gets traded.
That's right. Houston, uncertainty. But yes, let's just say it. OKC are the one spot that's available. And I do not think, I'll talk about who I think it is. I do not think that the Memphis Grizzlies are taking that spot. Do you? And it's not.
There's two teams that I can see jumping in.
Mm.
And this is excluding the Warriors due to health. But I would say New Orleans and Memphis are the two that would jump in for one of them definitely taking OKC spot.
Okay.
And then it depends on if Harden gets traded.
Just one spot available, though. Who you got going in? You haven't even said that my team. But
you're thinking the Suns, aren't you?
I'm thinking the Suns. It's obvious.
The bubble Suns 8-0. I
The Chris
I was
Paul,
thinking about them. I just
DeAndre Ayton improved.
Aiden's
Chris
going to improve.
Paul.
So that's the thing. But how good were Memphis last year with a rookie Jar, a rookie
Hmm.
Brandon Clark, JJJ? They're just going to get better.
Well, JJJ's out for a very long time.
How long? What the
He
fuck?
he destroyed his knee, ACL. No one's even talking
No,
about that. Jaron,
no.
what am I talking? He did it right at the start of the bubble. Jaron Jackson Jr. return says here never. No, it didn't come up yet. um, Jaron Jackson.
Didn't he play in the preseason games?
Well, I'll be really embarrassed if he didn't. I'll have to cut this out.
No, you have to leave it in. He tore his meniscus, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, meniscus. Jaron Jackson Jr. and Justice Winslow won't
He won't be ready for the start of the 2021 start. Yeah, you're right. Don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, he did that. It was
Well, if that's the case, well, it depends how many games he's missing.
Yeah,
but
I would even argue. Okay, so let's put him in, but he's not going to be in. He's not. I don't reckon he's going to be in for a good amount. But let's put him in the team. You don't reckon that the Suns are better? Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, and co.
Yeah, but you're also forgetting that Memphis were second last in the West for half of the season and had one of the better records in the league to finish. They were flying home. They were at like a 600 win pace for the last like 30 games or something like that. So they can obviously play.
They're good and they're on the upward trend. But I just Suns
it goes back
better.
to the West. The West is fucked because it'll come down to New Orleans, the Suns, and maybe Memphis if Jaren Jackson Jr. is healthy. But you can't tell me they're going to be within there's not going to be more than 3 games separating them.
No, it'll be a fight, but
so there's no way we can really predict it accurately because it's going to come down to a few buzzer beaters, and someone losing an injury for 2 weeks, someone getting coronavirus.
And actually, I think this strengthens my case. We're forgetting also there's a playing tournament game this season again. I forgot the format of how it works, but I think once again, it's
just 8th and 9th and 10. Maybe there's a 10 this year as well. Is there a 3-team playoff? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I think the Suns will be there. And then when it comes down to it, Chris Paul, it's about the best players on the floor. And Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton are definitely the best 3 players on the floor against, for me, New Orleans and Memphis. And it's pretty clear to me. Pretty obvious.
We'll see.
Anyway,
we'll see.
So the Memphis Grizzlies, I have them finishing just outside the playoffs. As I mentioned before, they've got no one other than rookies coming in. I believe Desmond Bain is a nice player. Awesome name. Desmond Bain.
Anything Bain, you're happy.
Desmond Bain. Jeez, like Desmond's awesome and then Bain. God. They have Kyle Anderson, I'm still convinced, is not the NBA player.
Slow-mo.
He doesn't look like an NBA player.
He's running on a treadmill.
They have Gorgie
Jeng. Yeah,
Gorgie
my boy.
Jeng.
I thought he was going to be a superstar.
JJJ.
That's one player I got wrong, and I got him very wrong.
They've got friend of the show, D'Anthony Melton, who got himself a contract. And yeah, hopefully Justice Winslow actually plays and adds to their youngness. I'm excited for the Grizzlies moving forward. However, I don't have them making the playoffs. It's pretty obvious that for me that the Suns are taking that spot. Any other notes on the Grizzlies?
The only thing when you said Winslow, I was like, Point Winslow is actually quite a good player. So I'm interested to see how he goes.
Point Winslow.
Yeah, when he's playing the point, he's all right. That's when he's at his best. So,
all right, let's keep smashing through these. God, I didn't realize I'd get so into the Grizzlies one. The Miami Heat. They brought in Avery Bradley and Mo Harkless pretty much, and they lost Jay Crowder, Solomon Hill, and Derek Jones Jr. We saw what they did. They made the finals. It was pretty nice. I will go on and on and on about their zone defense, which I'm sure broke. If it ain't broke, don't fix. They will bring their zone defense back to this season.
They'll barely touch it throughout the regular season, I reckon.
Are
And then just
they?
they'll work it into the playoffs, and no team will know what to do once again.
Are they? What are they doing regular season? Where are they finishing?
They're not going to impress anyone during the regular season. They're going to be 4th or 5th as they were last season.
Yep.
But it'll be the classic. It'll be like the LeBron Cavs between 2015 and 2018, where you knew the regular season didn't matter. And wherever Miami finishes, you will know that they're probably a top 3 chance to get into the finals. So now that they've got the experience, the reputation's also there. So no one's gonna write them off early this year. They're going, it's just Miami. They're just cruising through the regular season, and that's going to be the narrative all season, I think.
Question: Jimmy Butler starting the decline this year, or he's 31? No?
He's all right. He's fit as a fiddle. He's fine.
All right. That's good. I don't believe so either, but he is 31 and his game is very taxing.
Yeah, definitely.
And he doesn't shoot and he's small for big man moves. And he's so jerky. He could pull a knee at any point, Jimmy Butler.
Don't jinx him.
I'm not trying to jinx him. I'm just saying there will be a preseason. I'm going to say to you, is this the year that his game is so taxing and his 3 a.m. wake-ups can't help. Okay. The Milwaukee Bucks last.
Of course. Of course.
No, I'll go first. Out Bledsoe, out George Hill, Ersan Ilyasova, who, according to this, didn't seem to go to a team. That's sad.
Because he should have retired 3 years ago.
Kyle Korver is obviously 100 years old, so he also didn't get a team. Did he announce a retirement, Korver?
No, I think it was shoved upon him.
And Frank Mason III is, I don't know why I said that. It's because he's now going to be a G League player for Philly, but he's gone. Wesley Matthews and Marvin Williams.
Jeez, they lost a lot.
Robin Williams. They brought in DJ Augustine, Torrey Craig, Bryn Forbes, Drew Holiday, and Bobby Portis for you.
Bobby Portis. My boy. I can't stand him.
What is stopping this team from finishing first in the East? Is it a 3rd year straight or 2nd year straight? It's definitely 2nd. I think it's first.
This will be the third, I think, if because I think they've got the last 2.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think they'll finish first again.
Yeah,
I think Giannis is the most complete regular season player at the moment in terms of caring. And just, he's obviously a talented basketball player, but he's also got something to prove throughout the regular season. So he'll be pushing for that 1 seed once again, I think.
They'll definitely finish first in the East again. They'll do it in flying colors. And then I'll say all season about how Giannis is overrated and we'll see you in the playoffs, JL.
Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Anyway, so that's the Bucks. Unfortunately, it's not very extensive of a take. They're just going to kill it again in the regular season. However, I am interested to see Wesley Matthews, your mate, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have Pat Connaughton, they have DiVincenzo, they have Brook Lopez, who's suddenly the best shooter ever, and Middleton, and they have blah, blah. I just feel like their shooting's gone down a tiny bit, if not a little bit. And so, interesting to see about this whole regular season Giannis surrounded.
Bryn Forbes can shoot the ball. Drew Holiday is a decent shooter. Torrey Craig's okay from the wing or from the corners. Like, it's a decent replacement for what could have been an awful off season when the whole Bogdanovich thing went down. And it's like they're coming away empty-handed from all of this. So I think they've recovered quite well, and it's very much on Giannis, though, I think.
I think they're a worse team overall, but they're a better, starting 5 sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
and that'll be better for the playoffs, which is what they need. The Minnesota Timberwolves lost no one. Evan Turner,
No
he was on the Wolves. he's,
one.
he's now the assistant coach at
Yeah,
the
he's
Celtics.
welcome home.
Welcome home.
Oh, I've missed Evan Turner, so
Well,
I'm glad he's back.
excuse me, Evan Turner was drafted at number 2 by
Doesn't matter. He's a Celtic, and he calls himself a Celtic.
Oh, damn. They brought in Ed Davis, which is, I think everyone in the league, unless you're about to disagree with me, is like, oh, Ed Davis would be a good addition to any team.
He's that guy that just comes off the bench and rebounds the ball and passes it back to the top of the kit.
just does
Every team
good
needs
stuff.
that.
He just does good
He
stuff.
just has no other talent.
And so Ed Davis with a shaved head, mind you, so pretty
Don't
unrecognizable
like that.
at the moment. He is in for the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards taken at number 1. He's in. Also, Ashton Hagens from the draft, Jaden McDaniels, and old mate Ricky Rubio. He welcome home,
He's
Ricky.
back. He deserves an actual welcome home.
He is back, and he looks like Jesus if you follow the internet perspective. What are the Wolves doing? We discussed this last pod, and we just now talked about the West.
I don't know, and I feel bad for them. They're trying. I feel so bad for Karl Anthony Towns.
I reckon they're going to be part of this fight that we're talking about.
Yeah, really they're not far off. And I think the more Russell and Towns play together, the better they'll be. They don't really have much else going for them. But, I mean, Anthony Edwards, who knows, but he might go play NFL next year. He might be an 18 points per game scorer. Who knows? But I just feel so bad for the Wolves, and I feel bad for Karl Anthony Towns. He's had a shit year, and the last thing he needs is to have it be stuck on the Wolves any longer if they're not winning. So I hope for their sake they somehow pull it together. But other than Towns and Russell, no one there jumps out at you as more than a role player.
Yes. Hopefully Jarrett Culver and Towns.
Culver looks okay, but he shot like 45% from free throw last year.
Yeah, that's not good.
As a 2 guard, like, don't know. I'm not sold, but for their sake, I would love to see him make the playoffs. Because Karl Anthony Towns, he's one of the best bigs in the league. He's one of the best players in the league. He's just playing for the worst organization in the history of the NBA, arguably, except for maybe the Clippers.
Do you by any chance have a window open?
Maybe.
I can hear birds.
Oh, maybe I've got 2. Who knows?
So while JL's gone, I'll just keep talking. He's going to close his windows. I'm just helping us all out here and getting the bird noise gone. Hopefully the Wolves, they've got Malik Beasley, who's nice, young, and has women trouble. They've got Jared Culver. Okogie's not bad, and that's about it. But hopefully they are in that fight, and hopefully they can surprise us. JL's back for all
I'm surprised you kept going without me.
I just thought I would, for all our listeners.
There's not much to talk about the Wolves.
Well, what I will say is, I don't know how it works, Nike or the Wolves, or who has the main input on the designs of the jerseys, but the Wolves.
The teams design them.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they do not miss with the Wolves jerseys.
Nail it every single year.
And even though I hate the Celtics, I will also be always be transparent and say that the green is head and shoulders my favorite color, and the Wolves accentuate their green. It's awesome. Moving on from some green fetish, the New Orleans Pelicans, who have green in their colors, they lost Derek Favors, who's gone home to Utah, Drew Holiday, Frank Jackson, Darius Miller, Eton Moore, and that's it. And they brought in Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, Wenyen Gabriel, Willie Hernan Gomez, and that's it. And a couple of rookies.
And about 100 first-round picks.
What is this? With what you said before, you said that you seem to be a bit higher than them than I am. what is it about this team that you think they actually have a chance to fight for that actual playoff spot?
Because when Zion played last year, I don't know what their pre-bubble. I don't know what their record was, but they were winning basketball games, and they were another team that was flying home, and they had the easiest strength of schedule going into the playoffs, and I thought they were a certainty to make it. I just think Brandon Ingram's improvement's been phenomenal. Lonzo Ball looks like he's actually worked out how to shoot the ball. Like he was taking pull-up mid-ranges, which is the hardest shot in basketball, and hitting them during the preseason games. Josh Hart can play. Jackson Hayes has showed promise. Nikhil Alexander-Walker looks all right. We know what Redick can do, and he's going to do the exact same thing he always has done, just shoot threes and be that veteran presence in it. Zion. Chucking Steven Adams there. Eric Bledsoe for defense. They're looking pretty good, I think. That's a pretty good roster. There's names there that are going to play well. So losing Drew Holiday hurts, but I think they're actually covered up all right.
In terms of making the playoffs, I just can't put them in the category of the Suns and pretty much the Suns for me, basically. But they're in that other category with it's a big one with the Spurs, the Wolves, the Grizzlies, and all the other ones. It is a tough West. But yes, I've said it before. I'm not that high on Brandon Ingram, and I think it's
I wasn't either, but I think last season he showed he's not a superstar, but he's going to be close to one. He'll be a repetitive all-star for years to come, I think.
And I think it's a lack of just seeing Zion against real challengers consistently. That is my problem with not believing in this team. I reckon I've seen enough of Brandon Ingram to know that, for example, he's not better than Jason Tatum. And I know he's got more to develop, but for me, he's just not going to get better than Jason Tatum. Yeah. He was in the same draft as Ben Simmons, and people may argue, but I don't put him anywhere near Ben Simmons, not as a biased Philly fan, but there's having a good skill set, but then there's having that skill set at the highest level to
be able to do it in the playoffs
without sort of finding more articulate words for that. I don't really believe in them, and I have them finishing in the category outside the West playoffs. It's unfortunate they're in the West, and so many of these teams are, because they'd kill it in the East, or they'd make the playoffs in the East, but that's about it. The New York Knicks.
The Knickerbockers.
They lost Taj Gibson. Oh, who doesn't have a team? Taj. And Bobby Portis.
I can't believe not really young Taj Gibson is, but he was in the 2009 draft? Like, I thought he would be like 2004 draft sort of thing, like surprisingly a year younger than LeBron.
Well, you tell me.
But he was drafted he's the same age as LeBron, but he was drafted in 2009.
He's young as.
I was about to say he seems way older. He is old. He was just drafted very late, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see if he even gets picked up. But they brought in Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Emmanuel Quickley in the draft, and, of course, Obi Toppin in the draft, and Austin Rivers, and Amari Spellman. Much of the same from the Knicks, would you say?
Well, there's a reason I'm yawning, Nafe. And that's because I don't even want to talk about them.
Yeah.
They have nothing to offer, nothing to provide. They're going to be awful once again. And we're going to hear a lot about them because they're in New York. Yeah. But ultimately, you've got Frank Ntilikina, Alfred Payton, Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Julius Randle. Like...
James Dolan.
James Dolan's the number one problem. Those guys are never going to contribute to any winning basketball, ever. Mitchell Robinson, I don't mind. RJ's shown some talent.
I like Julius Randle for 5 minutes in next to AD. It was like a good, weird setup.
He's playing bully ball. But he's just got... the worst tunnel vision I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
This team's going nowhere, and everyone knows it.
All right. Well, that runs out of our time for the Knicks talk. I was with a great man, James Lee, today. I've shouted him out before on the pod. He's the only Knicks
Big
fan.
big fan of the show.
Yeah, big fan of the show. He's the only Knicks fan I know. He's like, "What are you going to say about the Knicks?" And I said to him, "This is what I'm going to say." And so this is the second time I've said it today. I will talk about the Knicks in more than a yawn like you did. When I see and believe, seeing is believing. And when they change their whole everything, I will talk about them. There's the yawn again.
I'm falling asleep because this team just... And I don't think I would care about... I mean, I don't care about them anyway. But I don't think... That'd be just another Sacramento to me. Or another Charlotte to me. If it wasn't for the New York media that even somehow still reaches us in Melbourne, Australia. I hate hearing about, this is the year, they're going to be better this year. Oh, they're going to get KD, Kyrie, and Zion. How often did we hear that?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the Knicks are in an eternal hole of pure shit, because that's where they belong with James Dolan at the helm.
Moving on, and I always like this transition alphabetically. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the other blue and orange team in the league, and they're next alphabetically. They brought in Trevor Ariza, George Hill, Al Horford, Frank Jackson, Justin Jackson, Alex Pokusevsky,
Alexei Pukosevsky.
And
Pokusevsky, sorry.
And
Poku.
They lost Steven Adams, Terrence Ferguson, Danilo Gallinari, Nels Noel, Chris Paul, Andre Robertson, and Dennis Schroeder. They are embracing the tank. They are taking on bad contracts. They are getting good draft picks. They have 1 million draft picks. I'm excited to watch Lou Dort, and I'm so excited to watch Lou Dort after the way last season ended. I would kill to have Lou Dort on the show.
What did he score in Game 7? 33?
Something. But it was awesome. And he's like mainly defense, and he had an awesome scoring. He's awesome, Lou Dort. Can't wait to watch him, and everyone loves SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Mike Muscala got the Sixers, the pick 21, so he'll always be a Sixers legend. They've got a bunch of bad contracts and just sort of skeletons that are about to turn to dust. Al Horford's going to look better than last season because he's not next to two other...
He's already looked good in the preseason games.
He's not next to two other centers in Ben and Joel.
Does he get traded?
I don't know.
They can get a first rounder for him.
They can.
From someone.
But
George Hill?
I have no idea.
He's gone.
I have no idea.
This team, you're about to read the ins, but I'm thinking there's no point. They're all out the door. Their in should say first round draft pick from, and just list every other team in the league, because that's all that not Billy Donovan. What's the how have I gone blank on this? Sam Presti. That's all Sam Presti's trying to do.
Yeah.
Is just hoard draft picks.
Yeah, very nice, in my opinion. I like that stuff. Simple stuff. Bottom 3, you'd have to say. Yeah. Bottom 2, bottom last.
Probably. But I think Poku, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Lou Dort, they're going to be fun. And I honestly, it's like you don't want your team to be bad, but when they're bad, you get to enjoy basketball for basketball, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I reckon OKC fans will have a bit of fun this year, because watching players develop, it's a joy.
Yeah.
And you get so attached to the most ridiculous players, and you went through the process. You'll still speak highly of Tony Roten. But I think for OKC fans, they'll enjoy it.
I
probably won't watch more than 5 OKC games all year.
Tony Roden, TJ McConnell, Robert Covington, Spencer Hawes, a guy called Sergio Rodriguez. The process.
Time to be alive.
Okay, the Orlando Magic. Let's get through them quickly. Cole Anthony has been drafted. He looks decent, in my opinion.
I don't know why, but he reminds me of 2000 and 9 early when Chris Paul was still with the New Orleans Hornets. Just the way he moves, he doesn't have the passing vision. He's more of a scorer, but just the way he moves around the court, he's quick. He's got a nice spin move, got a good handle. I think he's going to be quite a good young player.
I reckon with DJ Augustin going out from the Magic and Markel Fultz, in my opinion, being nothing, I reckon Cole Anthony.
Don't talk about Markel like that.
I think that Cole Anthony might be a real smoky for me in this year's Rookie of the Year playing for the Magic. They lost DJ Augustine and no one else, and they brought in Anthony and they brought in Dwayne Bacon. JL doesn't like bacon, the food.
Or the player.
What have we done?
Nothing.
They've done nothing. They've done nothing. Are they? So last season, the Magic finished in the playoffs eighth.
They were 8th.
They're not making the playoffs this season for me, I don't think.
No,
the Washington Wizards have Westbrook, and that pretty much says it for them. Yeah. I think the Wizards.
The Bulls will be better. The Wizards will be better. Maybe the Hornets. The Hawks will be better.
Yeah.
The
Hawks,
Magic. Yeah. I think the Magics will blow it up. Trade Aaron Gordon. Trade Vucevic while they can. And go from there.
Going to be interesting, a Vucevic trade. I'd be excited to see how that turned out. Let's keep going.
Skip this team.
Few teams left. The best team in the land. Mentioned to you off air that I got this as a Christmas present. I didn't mention. I should really pull them up, but I bought myself 3 new pieces of Sixers merch. I don't love the City Edition uniforms. Have you seen them? Our black
black ones, yeah.
With the boat, river, whatever.
I know the ones, yeah.
And I hate to say this, but I'm not from Philly. I'm from Melbourne. But apparently, if you are from Philly, that boathouse stuff is really iconic to Philly. So I'll take that. But as I predicted, the pre-game and the hat and the hoodie that I bought, all in the style of the City Edition, was all gorgeous. And I ordered it straight away, and it's come and cost me a pretty penny, but it's worth it.
That's what you got to do.
Philadelphia 76ers, they lost or they got rid of Al Horford, Alec Burks, Josh Richardson, Zaire Smith, and Glenn Robinson III, I guess you can say. They brought in Tony Bradley, Seth Curry, Terrence Ferguson, Danny Green, Dwight Howard, and they drafted Tyrese Maxey and a guy called Paul Reed, whose Twitter handle is B-Ball Paul. So B-Ball Paul is his name forever. This team, the Philadelphia 76ers...
You missed the most important out, and it's number 1 on the list.
Our friend Ryan Brockhoff.
Our dear friend. If you're watching, Ryan, we are so sorry to hear.
Yeah. He was
Maybe he would have kept the contract if he trained rather than talking to us.
Yeah, he was our very first special guest on the show. We'll never forget. We'll get him on again one day. I'm sure he'll blossom in another team, perhaps maybe in another country.
Well, I hope so. He's such a good shooter. He's got to belong somewhere.
Such a good shooter. So if you haven't checked out the Ryan Brockhoff pod, go and check that out now. It's in our history somewhere. The other pods on our podcast, not on YouTube, but on our podcast apps and stuff. Also, go check out 2 weeks ago, we interviewed top NBA skills coach Drew Hanlon. He's the coach of Joel Embiid. And talking about Joel Embiid, we have Danny Green and Seth Curry now, who Danny Green's, I've already said this. Danny Green's worse than Al Horford, who was traded for. And Seth Curry's worse than Josh Richardson. However, they fit perfectly. And Daryl Morey has done this. Well, you can actually say that was really good contract moves for reasons I can't be bothered explaining, but really good contract thinking, but also better fit. We have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, 2 all-stars that will be all-stars for the rest of their career. We finished 6th and got swept in the first round. We have disappointed last season, and really we've been a bit of a disappointment since Ben and Joel have come in. I am putting the Philadelphia 76ers in terms of standings This is big. I'm putting them second. This is big compared to our recent history, but I'm putting them second. In the standings, in the regular season standings, I'm putting them there. We are going to have a good regular season with this team. I'm telling you. You tell me.
Where do you finish in the playoffs? Or you just don't want to get into that? Because you're talking high hopes at the moment.
Well, I can say where I think the Sixers will finish in the playoffs because it kills me to say this, but I do not have them making the finals this season. So I have them making the conference finals. I reckon we're the best team. No, sorry. We are. Oh, wait, hold on. I totally forgot about Brooklyn in this standings talk.
I'm glad to have witnessed this. The roller coaster of emotion you're going through right now, the ups and downs. You should be used to this by now. You're a Philadelphia supporter. You've gone through this before. You should know never to bet on Philly.
I'm saying it again, and I'm not actually a biased person. It's just that Ben and Joel are better than all these other motherfuckers. And let me just say this. We're going to finish third. I'm kicking the Celtics. I'm sorry. I'm kicking the Celtics out of my previous top 3 prediction. The Celtics are finishing 4th, which is still a great effort. The Bucks are finishing first, then the healthy KD Nets, then Philly, then the Celtics. And Philly are going to the damn conference finals and then maybe losing in 6 to the Nets. Sorry.
One of my hot takes, Nafe.
No, not yet. Don't bring it up.
I'm going to drop it now.
All right, drop it now. Fuck.
Well, it's a 2-parter, so I'll do part 1 of it. The 76ers won't improve this season.
Oh, get out. Get out.
I'm sticking by it. I think, and I've said that they're better fits, but Seth Curry can't play defense, and he's not going to be able to keep on the floor come playoffs time. Danny Green's proven time and time again that he can't perform in the playoffs all that well. I don't see them improving all that much. Until I can see Embiid run out 4 quarters of a game, which he still can't do. Until I see Simmons shoot the 3-ball, which he still refuses to do. I just cannot bet on them to succeed because they are giving me nothing to show that they can. Literally nothing so far has shown me that they've improved.
I'm not going to argue with you, and there is precedent to say that you're right. However, this is the year. Joel might be top 4 MVP, top 3 even. You watch. That's not even a hot take. You watch how much this proper surrounding of him and Shake Goat Milton, who was taken at 50-something in the draft when he was taken.
It did look good the other day when I watched him.
Oh, God, Shake Milton's so good. Shake Milton starting. Seth Curry coming off the bench for here and there and shooting times. And an actual backup center, which we've never had in Dwight Howard and maybe if we need to, Tony Bradley. It'll be interesting to see if Daryl Morey pulls the trigger on a trade because I don't care what anyone says. We do. It would be very nice if we needed. It would be very nice if we had a perimeter creator that can create for themselves. So it will be interesting to see. But forgetting that, this is the year that we reach our Ben and Joel appetizer. No, sorry. The appetizer was against the Raptors when we should have won the championship. This is when we reach the main course.
How many playoff series have Joel and Ben won together?
Do you want?
Is it 2?
Do you want totally fit together? Because I'll give you.
How many? How many have they won? They made the conference. They made the second round against and lost to Toronto.
Joel, hold on. Listen to this, right? And this is a good summary of this is what it's. This is not a. Okay. Joel didn't play every game of our first series against Miami. Then we lost to you guys against in 2017-18. So that's not one. Celtics. Then last season, we beat Brooklyn in the first round. And I don't think Joel played the first game of that. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like he didn't. But even if he did, no, he didn't. He didn't. Joel didn't play the first game of that. So that's not one. And then we lost to Toronto. And then we lost to you guys. Joel and Ben have never been in a winning total series, playoff series together. And I think that speaks more to we've been unlucky with their injuries and Joel and Markel and bullshit. This is the they're both touch damn wood. I'm touching, but they're both not going to be injured. They're both not going to have stomach bugs, and we are at least going to make the conference finals.
Can't wait to see this all come crumbling down.
We have spent too much time talking about the Sixers. Do you quickly want to say what you think?
That's a recurring theme. I think they'll finish in the 4 seed, 5 seed.
Yep.
And first or second round exit. But I've got a hot take later on coming, so I can't give it all away.
Jesus Christ. The Phoenix Suns, they lost Aaron the GOAT Baines, and Kelly Oubre and Ricky Rubio, and pretty much that's it. And they brought in Jay Crowder, Langston Galloway, which I didn't even realize, Damian Jones, I guess, Etuan Moore, and Chris Paul. That's a nice offseason from the Phoenix
Don't forget
Suns.
Abdul Nader, who famously missed 4 free throws in a row for the Celtics.
Sorry.
That's all he did in his time in Boston.
I have just banged on about it before. The Phoenix Suns are taking that one spot. I think Harden's... Yeah. I actually think that Houston will make the playoffs.
So you reckon they're taking OKC's spot?
I'm just going to go with Houston making the playoffs. Like, it's too hard to think about. But
and where are they finishing?
The Suns. Playing game talking, but I think 8th.
So just sneak it in. I would have, and I said before, you can't really separate probably 8th to 10th. It's going to be 3 games, but they're in that bracket for me.
Yeah.
With Memphis and New Orleans.
It's going to be very exciting. DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Javon.
And Ayton missed the first 25 games last year through suspension. So
yeah.
And I think he's a great young player.
Javon, DeAnthony Melton Carter.
Our favorite man.
Dario Saric and Chris Paul. It's going to be exciting. On to the Portland Trailblazers. Hopefully, I think Zach Collins is going to return in January. He's still out, but hopefully
good off season.
Yes, hopefully he returns. They've apparently convinced Melo to come off the bench. They've brought in Robert Covington, which is part of what they needed. They need to improve their defense, and he's a great defender, especially wing defense. He's a great defender. That'll be good. They also brought in your man, Harry Giles. They brought in Derrick Jones.
I love that you know him, that he's my man.
They brought in Derrick Jones Jr., who's a good wing defender again, and they brought in their friend Enes Kanter. They lost
Hazonia and Whiteside.
Let's just put it simply.
That's it.
They just lost nothing. I mean, Wenyan Gabriel looks like a nice young piece, but they're looking to win now, basically.
Yeah,
so
throwing their chips into the middle.
I've got the Portland Trailblazers finishing in the playoffs, and I have them finishing. That 4th, 5th, 6th.
They're in the same bracket for me as Utah. Probably Utah and Dallas if Dallas don't make the jump.
Kristaps Porzingis is going to be edgy all season. He's going to be not start the season. We don't know what's going to happen. And him stretching the floor as a stretch center, Rick Carlisle centers don't need to be in the paint. I said 4th for the Mavericks, but I'm actually starting to rethink that because of this Kristaps thing. The Mavericks, the Blazers, the Jazz, that's it. They're going to fight for 4th to 6th.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yep. So very nice. Good luck to the Blazers. The Sacramento Kings, let's 2 seconds on them. Tyrese Halliburton drafted. They also brought in Glenn Robinson III and Hassan Whiteside, and they lost Kent Bazemore, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and Corey Brewer, Yogi Ferrell, Harry Giles, and Alex Len. The Sacramento Kings, for me, will finish. I'm going to say this might be a hot take, but I'm going to say that they're seriously going to be in the fight. They're going to be, this West thing is unbelievable. They're going to be in that fight to potentially and surprisingly get into the playing game. I think that
They weren't too far off. They weren't too far off this past season gone.
Fully healthy, they are still, in my opinion, one of the most exciting teams with the other young teams. Marvin Bagley, as we know, is a bucket. And Harrison Barnes is better than Rudy.
Do we know Marvin Bagley's a bucket?
Yeah, we do. Oh, sorry. I know that he's a bucket. Marvin Bagley is a bucket.
Oh, boy.
Have you seen him on offense?
Oh, boy.
He cannot be stopped on offense in his
boy.
in his painted area, and he shoots.
Oh, boy.
You wait. You see Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley.
I have seen him, and he really doesn't provide much at all, if anything.
He's been injured for a million years.
I know he's been injured, but he's done nothing.
Marvin Bagley.
First season, he played 62 games, averaged 15 points, 7 rebounds.
For a rookie, that's real good.
Yeah, but I don't think he's improved since then because he hasn't played.
Well, last year Jack. Last year he spent all last season bloody suspended, then broken finger, all this bullshit.
Yeah, that's reason to believe why he's improved.
Well, you just know sample size from last season. Anyway, Marvin Bagley is a bucket. Host gets the finisher. Harrison Barnes is better than Rudy Gay. We already established that on a previous pod. Nemanja Bjelica.
I like Bjelica.
He's my dad, but he can shoot.
Oh, do you actually look like your dad?
No,
what you're trying
I'm
to
just
say?
saying like he's...
Oh, I was going to say.
His body does. His body looks like a good old uncle.
I like Bjelica. He's hit some big clutch buckets over the years. So
he can shoot, Bjelica. Anyway, he just looks like a dad. De'Aaron Fox, very exciting to me. Buddy Hield, while disgruntled, still has to prove stuff. Rashawn Holmes is great off the bench, and Corey Joseph is decent enough, and that's about it to mention. It might be a hot take, and I know you don't love the Kings or respect the Kings, but they will be in the fight.
I really like the Kings, though. That's the annoying part. I like their team, except for Harrison Barnes. I love De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
For some reason, as a rookie, he grabbed my attention. I try and watch their games, and I've got some high hopes for Tyrese Halliburton as well.
Yes.
But they're still going to be the bottom of the West for me. And I do think they have taken a step up. And I was kind of hoping they'd make the playoff game, a play-in game sort of last season, because I really do enjoy watching them. But it's the Kings, Nafe. How many years have we said this for? Like, the Kings will be all right. I remember saying it when they had Tyreke Evans as Rookie of the Year. I thought, yeah, they're getting there. But death taxes and
Kings being
Kings struggling to win 30 games.
I think they'll be part of the fight. Let's hope so. On to the San Antonio Spurs. They lost Bryn Forbes, Marco Bellinelli, and nothing. They brought in nothing. The Spurs, while Deontay Murray and Keldon Johnson and
Lonnie Walker
might be, and Derek White might be bright sparks. I don't think that equates to the bright sparks of, I can't believe I'm saying it, but the Kings and the Wolves and the Grizzlies and the Pelicans up the top there. I think that the Spurs could finish.
They'll be bottom 3.
They could be last. I'm looking at this now. They could be. They'll be above. OKC. I reckon the Spurs. I'm saying the number. They'll be 14th. I reckon they could be second last.
And I think there's a good chance as well that Aldridge and DeRozan get traded mid-season.
Yeah.
Because they've still got a bit of value.
Yep. So
Other than that, it's a very grim roster.
that's right. It's looking a bit ugly. The Toronto Raptors. Here's my team that I keep previewing. I think I already mentioned it last pod. The Toronto Raptors are going to slide, in my opinion. This is the
Me too.
year. As much as Nick Nurse is a good coach, they're going to slide. They're going to slide for me. So they finished second last year again, and also the year before. I feel like Toronto have been second for 50 consecutive years.
Mm.
But this season,
Fake 1 seed. Do you remember that?
yeah. This season I have the Raptors. Maybe they pip the Heat, but they don't even finish higher than the Pacers for me. I've got the Raptors about 6th or 7th in the East.
Yeah, it's hard to because like I said, to make the playoffs, I think who has to come out for you to go in, and I have a hard time saying who's going to move above the Raptors because they've done it so consistently for so many years, and they're such like a deep unit that losing one guy doesn't really affect them all that much. But even if they do finish high, I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs. Same as last year.
Yes, and losing. So they lost Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, and that I think it's not huge, but it's not. They've just gotten worse.
Yeah,
they just gotten a bit worse, basically, and they were already just edging in.
Lowry's not going to improve anymore.
Yep.
He's what he is now, and he's a good player. Van Vliet is probably already maxing out his abilities.
Yep.
Siakam will improve, and Nobi will improve. That's about it on their roster. Norman Powell, I think, is already at his limit.
They did get Aaron Baines, the GOAT.
The big bang up.
But I think, we're on agreement with Toronto sliding there. Onto the Utah Jazz. They brought in Derek Favors. He's back home, and that's about it. They went to the draft as well. They lost Ed Davis, Tony Bradley. Moutier doesn't have a team, it looks like, and
Moutier shit.
We discussed it before. I love the Jazz. I have them in that 4th to 6th category. They've got Bojan Bogdanovic, Jordan Clarkson, who's a nice 6-man. They have Mike Conley if they work out the chemistry there. Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell. I like Niang. I like Royce O'Neal. And those players, they've got such a
They're deep. They're deep.
They're deep. They're a good team. They've actually disappointed me these last couple of years because I think that they should be like Denver level. I know they did.
It was hard when Bogdanovic got injured last year, though.
Yeah, that's right. But I really hope to see 1 year at least of this cohort punching the playoffs once, like surprising or something, just like Denver did last season.
They're not far away though. Like Donovan Mitchell's really bloody good.
He is good.
That first round he had was phenomenal. Yeah. So,
and I know they all talk, but apparently he's facilitating this offseason, which is his only flaw apart from his height.
I mean, he had no one to pass to anyway, really.
Yeah, so hopefully that improves and they become really good. To finish up with the teams, so we both agree on 4 to 6 for the Jazz. Yep. Finish up the teams. The Washington Wizards, they brought in Robin Lopez, Raul Neto, Russell Westbrook, and Denny Avdija.
I don't know how to say it, but he's impressed me. His first preseason game, he went 6 from 6 from the field, I think. Yeah,
Denny Advia. Let's go with that. And they lost Mahimi.
All I have to say. I think they'll be all right. Westbrook's Westbrook will take any team to like the first round.
Yep.
I think that's the best I can say for this team. Bradley Beal, I think he'll be an all-star this year, which he should have been last year. He'll be all-NBA. I think he's going to really show that he's going to contribute. And I really like Rui Hachimura as well. So I think overall they're going to be all right.
I think they're going to get 8th. They'll take it off Orlando this season. They'll get 8th. They'll make the playoffs. It's just they can't not. I think the Hawks will just miss and they'll be 9th. And I think Orlando will fight there. They just always do. And maybe the Hornets and maybe the Bulls. But definitely, I think the Wizards 8th. JL, thanks for today. I know it's gone on for ages.
It's been a long one, Nave.
So this will definitely be split up into 2 parts. So make sure you're keeping an eye. You've pressed follow, subscribe on whatever podcast app you use, or definitely subscribe on YouTube. And part 2 of part 2 will be coming out in the coming days. We hope you enjoy the NBA season start. I'm sure I'm going to link it, the simultaneous release of this next part 2 of part 2.
It's a nightmare.
So make sure you listen in for that, or stay with us for that one coming out in a couple of days. JL, thanks for coming on.
Always my pleasure, Nathan. Just keep them shorter and I'll be happier.